insane. So Dennis Byron, he's been involved in the YSL trial. He was actually in court reporting live. He was actually recording, did some great exclusive interviews, not only with Doug Weinstein, but some other folks involved in this trial. He eventually got kicked out of the court. Him and Sylvia got kicked out because he got in trouble for taking pictures of something he wasn't supposed to take pictures of. And essentially he got kicked out of court, but he still went strong, still stuck with this trial, still reported on it, broke some news. And one of the things he did, he was actually the first person to interview a juror. And this juror he's interviewing is actually an alternate. And she had some interesting things to say. Now, I know where to start this video thanks to Cat Not Williams, but I actually haven't heard this myself. So we're going to be reacting to it live with y'all. Let me know what you think about this. If you've heard this, let me know how you feel about it in the comments too. Here we go. Dennis Byron featuring an alternate juror. Yikes.
Able to talk to one of the jurors. But first and foremost, put a 1 in the chat to make sure you guys are locked in. Good morning, Miss Linda. How are you?
Miss Linda, here we go.
This morning. Well, I said I'm great. I'm feeling great, but in my head, I'm not great.
You're not great. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. But first and foremost, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview you. This has been a long trial, and obviously you were right in the thick of it, just listening to all the evidence. Before we go into why you feel the way you feel, how do you feel right now, knowing with the verdict right now? How do you feel right now? Talk to me.
I'm pretty angry at my fellow jurors. Pretty angry.
Dang.
I'm pretty angry. Not angry enough to curse because I don't do that. But
Okay,
I'm not happy with the way things have ended in this year plus trial. And I say year plus because this process has started longer than a year ago for us.
How's this affected your life?
It has impacted my life in more ways than I can even explain right now. It's time that we'll never get back. And if I get emotional, please forgive me.
I understand. It's scary.
You can't get back time that you feel at this point feels wasted to me. Right?
Wow. God dang.
Yeah. The impact on my life has been rough. I have 8 grandchildren, and it's taken time out of my time for them. It's taken time out of my time for my husband and my family. I've missed a lot of time that I would have been spending on my job, my fellow employers. You know, they're friends. So I haven't had that time with them. At work, so I've missed a lot.
Sure.
I'm going to try to stay on your questions as they come and not get too far off the road with those.
Okay, so let's take it back to the beginning. You as well as your other fellow jurors went to this trial with the Judge Glenville.
Yes.
You guys talked a lot, obviously, in the jury room. What was your view of the first judge on the case? And before we go into a lot of the other questions, what was your first view of the judge?
She probably loved Glenville.
How did you think he handled the processes of the courtroom?
For me, I respected Judge Glenville. I felt that, first of all, there was a lot of disrespect from the defense attorneys against the judge that was, in my eyes, just awful. First of all, he's the high court. So many would say maybe he didn't have control of his court, but I just saw a lot of disrespect, especially from the defense side. And it played out in front of the people, I'm sure, for those who are watching live and for us, even as a juror.
She's big, man.
It played out in the courtroom. And so the disrespect was there. Getting control of his courtroom was probably a little more challenging for him But it was not it was a terrible representation, I think, of professional individuals and how treatment was given toward the judge and the prosecution. I didn't feel, as women, I think we saw some very strong women in the courtroom.
Oh, here we go.
Did their best to present against highfalutin attorneys who's paid millions
highfalutin. What the hell is this lady saying? All right, yeah. So this is a sister. She's on the sister code and the black code, so she's not gonna have it. Those white dudes out there
Stop the cap.
cooking her sisters. Here we go. Oh man. And then you got a black judge being thrown out and replaced by a white female judge. I already know where this is going. I'll let it play.
I didn't feel, as women, I think we saw some very strong women in the courtroom who did their best to present
Rice Street.
against highfalutin attorneys who's paid millions of dollars, I'm sure, to do what they do best. And so they showed their butts in court. And so I think Judge Glenville tried to keep control of his court. I don't think he did as good of a job as I would like to have seen him do.
Oh, there we go.
Especially with gaining that, regaining or recovering the respect that he deserved in that courtroom.
Wow. Well, this is surprising to me based on the your fellow juror. And ladies and gentlemen, for those who are joining in, Miss Linda was one of 3 of the jurors who was the alternate, so she stayed to the point before deliberation.
Thank God.
But it is very important for
like
us
Amy
to
said.
be able to unpack what was happening in that jury room. And right now, I'm surprised. You know, I mean, this is your opinion that you felt that the defense was being disrespectful to the judge. Did you not see any how should I say, wrongdoing by the prosecution at any point during the time you watched this trial?
I think you have to measure day by day, point by point. Now, what I believe, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion and how I saw things, they had a lot to contend with. I'm not supporting or standing up for the prosecution based only because the lead were women. There were also men there. And so I'm coming from the standpoint of watching all of it play out. I don't think that they, how can I say this? I'm not going to say knew what they were getting into. There were so many things I could see happening that's not a part of the final decision, but watching from all aspects. I saw so much opportunity where the defense was getting information quashed so that it could not be presented forward. There were so many.
What is she talking about?
There were so many, and I apologize, I'm getting a phone call right now. There were so many opportunities where the back and forth could have been controlled a little bit more, but it's, this is my first actual time of serving on a jury. So it was a lot to get into and a lot to handle.
Okay, so
it was a lot.
Every day that obviously the judge gave his admissions to the jurors, but you became good friends with a lot of jurors. Is that a fair assessment? Or did you have issues with any of your fellow jurors?
I want to say this about the jury panel. We come from different walks of life. Walks of life.
Yeah, you do.
There are those of us who are not swearers. There are those of us who are Christ-centered. There are those of us who are quiet, meek, humble. There are those of us who are boastful. So you had a very good mix. You had You
And
had
that ain't you. Floyd is mad.
and I'll say this because I'm a legal assistant, so I'm a professional. So you had those of us who were professionals in the room and those of us who weren't. And so watching the dynamics of the jury.
Hold on now. Okay, so this is clearly a sister. And there were 6 other sisters in the room. And then what was the jury makeup again? There was a white lady, a white dude, or two white ladies and another white dude. So who is she talking about? She said there were some of us that are professionals and some of us that weren't. Oh my. Who is she taking shots at? This lady is something else.
Pull in the back. It was a little different. There were days of a lot of noise and there were days that were calm and quiet. So
let's talk about the noise. What kind of
sister,
noise?
not a sister.
Explain the noise part for me, please.
oh yeah, we had our arguments, we had our bickering, we had our we had some of that, simply because you have a mix of people, 16 people, again, coming from all walks of life in a room together and having
That's what
levels
it
of
sounds like,
disrespect.
Susan.
And I'm not going to get very specific on issues because
Okay.
I don't want to put anyone out there on anyone's platform. I'll be respectful of that and respectful of all of us as a team. But it was expected because once you get into a room and find out who
Amy.
you all are, you have to figure out how do you respect each other in your respective places. And so
here we go. So what is she saying, Amy? Shout out to Amy, man. So awesome. Jury makeup. 7 black women, 2 black men, 2 white women, and 1 white man, plus the 6 alternates. So who is she talking about? Y'all were, man, I remember when the jury makeup came out and I caught hell for how I was talking about, how I said I was worried about the jury makeup. And Sean P, I saw you mention in the comments, this woman that's speaking right now is exactly the woman that I was worried about. Because when I found out the jury makeup, I said, man, at this point, if it ended today, this could go one or two ways. And this woman right here was the exact one that I was worried about. Thank God. Thank God she was not involved in this trial.
We came to that, finally. But yeah, the beginning was difficult. The beginning was difficult until we all learned how to respect each other.
Okay, so now let's talk about the defendants that obviously, I don't know if you're aware. Are you aware that the defendants, some of the defendants took plea deals?
I was not, simply because we were asked, do not watch the news, do not engage in social media, do not talk about the case with each other, do not talk about the case outside of the courtroom. So I wanted to respect and do the best job that I could provide, because we were told going in, none of you know whether, even though you're showing as an alternate on a list, you don't know whether you're going to be making the final decision or in the deliberation process to come down with the verdict, or whether you will serve as an alternate and be excluded from the final verdict. And so that's what we were told. And so we had to go by the judge's rule. I never wanted to be found in contempt of court and kicked off of this case because so much time had been spent on it. So I don't know what you're about to tell me. Everything that you're about to tell me playing out in the public is going to be fresh and new to me. So I was not aware.
Okay, so I saw the, obviously I was in the court and I was in the center of the floor. I was the actual cameraman in the center of the floor. You probably had the opportunity to see me early on.
Okay.
So I was the one who I stood with the camera in the center of the floor. Where did you?
From the one that I was running from, because I did notice you. I was constantly trying to put on different wigs to hide my profile and all of that, because I did notice you on the floor.
In the cafeteria
and in different places.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God! This
so you going
crazy.
deep undercover? Okay, let me ask you, where did you sit? Because
So
I
you
saw
went
how
deep
the juror sat. Were you in the back, in the front?
Oh,
were you sitting on the floor?
I was initially sitting on the floor.
I know exactly who you are.
It's Anisha.
So, were you aware that you got caught on camera?
I was not aware.
Okay, you were sitting there. You were sitting near the young man with the glasses.
Yes.
Okay, I know exactly who you are. I don't have a picture of you. Rest assured, I don't have a picture of you. But
okay, good.
Yeah, Byron said. Mr. Byron said, "Yeah, and I didn't want one either." Just saying.
There was something, if I recall, there was something that was said to Judge Glenville about a content creator, and I think that was you on Facebook. That was you.
Yes.
I remember your voice.
She's a content
okay,
creator.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is her. I remember the voice, and that's interesting, very interesting. We're going to talk about that in a little while. Okay, so we saw the opening arguments for Deputy District Attorney Adrian Love, and then we saw the opening arguments from the other attorneys for the defense. What was your thoughts when you heard the opening and the defendant, Mr. Williams, being referred to as the leader of a pack?
What are my thoughts?
Yes, thoughts on the opening. Let's just talk about the opening. There's a lot to unpack here, and obviously, your involvement to the point of the deliberation is significant. But you don't know what was going on in the jury room at the point of them reaching this verdict. But you were a part of everything up until that point.
She wanted to assert her power.
When you went in, did you envision being having to sit in this jury for this long period of time? Did you?
Yeah, this is Miss Love's granny. This is her granny.
But we were warned. We were forewarned. Mind you, when we were called and told, and as a matter of fact, on the day that the jury pool was being selected, I was praying, Lord, don't allow me to get picked for this jury, because I don't know if I can sit for long periods of time. I've been in multiple car accidents, and as a matter of fact, I was hit after 2 months into this process. I was hit from behind.
Is that why we had the delay in the trial?
She's the snitch.
No, I don't think on my part. I think that whoever's behind the delay allowed me to recuperate from the injuries that I incurred.
Okay.
But that was on someone else. I'm sure we'll discover, maybe find out later on who it was about. But initially,
she was the one snitching on the cameraman.
The opening arguments. I will say this. I don't know Young Thug. I don't listen to rap music. My children will tell you if rap is playing in my car, then I'm not the driver. So I'm not a rap person. I'm not an urban wear person. I'm not. You're not gonna find me in a lot of hoodies and sweatshirts and sweatpants and all of that. I'm not saying there's anything.
What does this have to do with this trial? Oh man. There's so much I want to say about this, but I don't know this lady, so I'm going to let it go.
Wrong with that. I'm just saying, when you think of urban wear and people who are more urban centered, they might be more in tune to listening to that type of music. Might be.
So people who wear hoodies listen to rap music? Oh, man.
I'm sorry.
Categorizing.
I had a question, and this is a question that I had back then, but someone else brought it to the forefront. How were you able to know this content creator was saying things if you were under sort of a sequestration or not be able to watch any social media. How were you able to find out that?
At the point that I did not know what the content creator was saying after the trial began. What I learned about the content creator happened prior to being selected for the trial. And what I saw, I just happened to be on my social media account because one thing I did not do, I did not come off, I could not cut my life off 100%. And so I, because I am
look
on,
at Dennis
and
smiling.
I'll be transparent. I was on my Facebook account, but you know, with the way when at some point in 2023 or early, in 2023,
so she's
Facebook
she's
changed the way you see things.
I'm not gonna say it, Susan.
And you can see people's posts even though you might not be a follower. If a friend of yours might be following them, you might
Esther.
see things that are public,
right?
And so I happened to see something come up along the pre-trial process, and I saw, what I remember seeing was an image. He must have been in a different role.
Look at, he said
there was an image.
Shout out to Dennis Byron. He said, "Lady, stop. You already said you were on Facebook. That's a violation. All right, man."
These niggas lacking.
Of the judge and the
arrest this lady.
Something from a monitor. There was a picture of a monitor. And I don't know if he took that off of the screen or if he was in the room. I don't recall that. All I can recall is saying, and then after the trial began, I was, of course, remember, I was sitting on the floor and I saw this person walk in. And so that's what,
I saw that.
And so that's when I thought I might need to say something, you know, I'm not, you know, and then knowing I was sitting on the floor and people could see me.
Oh, we saw you.
Yeah. I was a little leery of that. And so, you know, my thing was we were not supposed to be known or visually known to the public. And so how do we keep that private? And so my thing was I need to bring this up because he's a vlogger. He's a vlogger, whatever you want to call them,
right?
Gossiper, whatever they are, you know, whatever they do. And, you know, I don't have anything against that person. I just know what they do. And
right.
So,
and you made that a point to bring to the judge's attention. Has anyone reached out to you since you were a juror? And obviously I have my own sources and we're not going to reveal my source, but has anyone outside of other than myself through my source was able to reach out to you to ask questions or anything like that to you while you were a juror?
No,
he's getting big pay.
That I'm aware of.
Okay.
This is crazy.
Were you one of the jurors that was being followed by the prosecution team?
Of course,
were you aware of that?
She wants all the drama.
Okay. Okay, interesting. Wow. Okay, there's so many questions here, ladies and gentlemen.
A lot of questions.
I'm going to objection 403. Do you know what objection 403 is?
I do not.
Okay, don't
waste the time.
Something that came across my screen. Okay, so as the trial proceeded, there were multiple witnesses that got on the stand. Lil Woody. Let's talk about Lil Woody for a moment. What did you think about Lil Woody or Mr. Kenneth Copeland's testimony?
I knew right off the bat that we were not going to.
I agree, my friend.
And this is just my internal sense, right? Again, I've never served on a jury, but
Dennis is
knowing
hilarious.
that there was a connection there, I did not sense that we would get truth.
When you say connection, what do you mean?
the connection between, as was proven throughout the trial, when we knew that he was a witness for Young Thug. I did not feel, or a friend of Young Thug's, or a YSL member. You know, you see it all over him. You see the tattoos, you see the, you know, everything that was proven in court. I did not sense that we would get truth from him. And of course, it was proven, anytime you have to treat someone as a hostile witness, when you bring them out, again, keep in mind, I don't know any of these individuals. I've been in Atlanta a short period of time, and I don't know the music.
Now there you go.
So
she doesn't know the
Well,
culture.
it sounds like you don't like hip hop music at all because you don't listen to it.
I do listen to some hip hop. I don't listen to rap.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're considered hip
No,
hop.
and you make a good distinction. There's hip hop, there's rap. Rap is a part of hip hop.
Okay. This lady.
Stop the cap.
You know how difficult it is to listen to hip hop but not listen to rap?
What?
Come on. Come on now.
Maybe you're more favorable to the older music coming from what era, can I ask you, did you grow up listening to hip hop? Just as curiosity.
80s.
80s. Okay, so we
80s,
okay.
Okay. From 80s on.
Okay, all right. Okay, so trap music is not something that.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, all right. Okay,
she's lying.
so many questions.
I didn't get talked about for that. So
okay, all right.
My adult daughters now listen to the music I listened to as I was growing up. So
and it's interesting that you say that. Did you come in, and I know you were Vardier, and you asked a series of questions. Did you come in with a preconceived notion about today's rap artists versus the era that you're from? And if so, give me some of the reasons why you feel the way you feel.
So I did not come in with any preconceived notions.
Oh my God. All right. How much more of this lady, y'all? How much more of this lady can we take? I didn't come in with any preconceived notions, and she said in pre-trial she was on Facebook looking at stuff that people were saying. All right, we're gonna give it a little bit more time, but this is crazy. I don't know how Dennis found this lady.
So, because rap, you have different lingo, you have slang, you have the way. I think there's even a cross with like different versions of rap, right? To the point that if you're talking at a slower pace, I might be able to keep up with that. So, but if you just tell me, that you're going to play some rap, I may not listen to it for the simple fact that I just can't keep up with it. My ears are not fast enough for that. What I would say is that after this trial, after listening to rap artists, I probably, if I'm listening to a song, if my children are playing a song, if we come across a song, I'm going to start listening to the lyrics because I'm a lyric person, right? And so if I can understand the lyrics of a song, I'm probably now going to be more in tune in paying attention to the words of a song. This trial made me a little bit more sensitive, that I honestly do believe that crime is lived out in music. I do believe that. I do believe that crimes were committed and the crime was lived out in the music.
Yeah, this is the lady that calls the police if the music's too loud next door. Y'all bumping Young Thug next door? She's calling the police. Period. Don't do that in her neighborhood.
Right before you.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. That's interesting that you say that.
Crime is lived out in music. It's crazy.
how long have you had that point of view? Like, it sounds like something that obviously is part of your thinking and listening to this current music. How long did you feel this way, like with music, current hip hop music or rap?
Well, I've always felt that good music comes from the heart, right? It comes from experience. It comes from life. Life
Look at
teaches you a
Dennis. He
lot of
said, man,
things.
lady, if
People
you don't
write
get out of
poems
here,
about life. If you've gone through
he said,
anything,
cry at
you can
Angela.
probably reach out to any artist and ask them, how did you create this song? And they will tell you that it either came from an experience or an experience they had or experience they are aware of from another person. And so I think that given the fact that I don't listen to rap, that this trial has caused me to try to become a little bit more sensitive and open to hearing it. It gave me a different perspective when it comes to rap. Like now,
In what way?
again, I said I would probably listen a little bit more to what's being said, or try to discern, or to translate it, or to just get the words of it, the lyrics of it, and see what's being said. Because I think most people who do music, they write from the heart. They write from what's in them.
So someone will listen to this interview and this part of the interview and say that you actually did have a preconceived notion.
She did.
About
she said she did.
These individuals, just based on the introduction of music. And and let me just say this, you can probably explain this a little better. They played a lot of Young Thug's music. Young Thug is a world-renowned celebrity. He sold millions and millions of records.
As I've learned.
Right. You learned this through the trial.
Right.
Do you feel that the music that he was putting out contributed to this case being indicted? Did you feel like that when you heard what the charges were? Or because I'm struggling with your answer, because it almost appears that you had a preconceived notion.
It doesn't appear
music.
She said she did, Dennis.
And I'm not trying to badger anything, but I just want to
badger
get more of an understanding of that, because there are other defendants, obviously, there's a part of this indictment that haven't been prosecuted. So I want to understand that viewpoint there.
So first of all, I don't think I could have a preconceived notion when I didn't know what would play out in the trial, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had no clue that we would be listening to lyrics. I had no clue that we would be listening to music. Had I been
yikes, this lady's lying.
On the decision-making side, I probably would have asked for transcripts to dissect the music, to listen a little bit, to review it a little bit more. But I can't understand how I would have a preconceived notion when I wouldn't know what we would be presented with until the trial.
Well, you stayed
right,
but you stayed to the you stayed to the now you stayed with the trial until its conclusion, so you were able to hear music, lyrics, and so forth. Did your viewpoint change? Did your viewpoint change at the end of conclusion of this trial, or are you steadfast in that belief?
So when I say that I take what would the music and the lyrics and the songs that were played in the courtroom, and I connect them with the crimes.
You're right, Jermaine.
Right? That's different than saying everybody's talking about killing somebody. Everybody's talking about committing a crime through their music. That's not what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
I'm saying through this trial, we were from my standpoint, I could connect crimes and the music and the timeline that songs were written based on when crimes were committed. And so,
oh man, get this lady out of here. The defense showed preconceived. The defense showed that the state could not even prove when these songs were recorded, who wrote them. And even Brian Steele showed several cases when there were lyrics being used to implicate Young Thug that he didn't even write or say. This lady was not paying attention. She was watching somebody who, I don't know what she was doing. Come on now.
That wasn't established until all of that was presented. So I can't have a preconceived notion before that. Now, I wasn't a rap. I don't listen to rap. So if I listen to a love song, you take Luther Vandross, Luther Vandross was talking about. You get what I'm saying?
I knew she was going to say either Luther Vandross or Marvin Gaye.
Music's from the heart. It takes something that comes from the heart to reach the heart. So if it's in the heart, it's either experience or an experience that you're aware of or known of or shared from someone else. That may not be the case in point for all musicians or all people who write lyrics. But if you take a poll, I would love to see a poll on people who write music and where they get their vision from.
When you learn,
all right, I can't do it anymore. Shout out to Dennis. I don't know how he handled this lady. I would have got her off of there 10 minutes ago. Jesus clearly says, I don't get the culture. I don't like the culture. But hey, I didn't have any preconceived notions. It's capping, as Max so eloquently put it. She is capping. This is crazy. Shout out to Dennis. I'm going to have a link to this full interview in the description of this video and also in the comments. Y'all make sure you go show him some love. I can't take any much of this. This is wild.